What's up everyone, my name is Malik, and Riot's new first-person shooter, previously penned Project A, has finally received an official name, Valorant. So far, Valorant has caused a split in the gaming community. Half thinks it looks like a rival to Overwatch, Fortnite, and CSGO, while others think it looks like a cheap mobile clone of the previously stated titles. Now, there's a lot of information and rumors spreading about the new title, and since its announcement trailer went live on Monday, March 2nd, I figured we could do a breakdown of the trailer, what the game's format and structure looks like so far, along with the agents/heroes and their abilities. We will be breaking down the trailer in depth because there are some cool things that need to be pointed out that are small when you look at them on the surface level, but mean a lot for the game and how it will be played. Let's get started with what is Valorant. So Valorant is a tactical first-person shooter from game developer Riot, the developer of popular esports and MOBA game League of Legends. The IP is a 5v5 tactical hero-based shooter that favors mechanical skill over the abilities that will be present in the game. They're aiming for the high-quality gunplay of CSGO while bringing in abilities that are reminiscent of Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege. The goal out of the gate is to make the shooter as competitive as possible and build an esports scene around it. The graphical style of the game reminds me of an upgraded Team Fortress 2, but it will assist in the marketing to younger audiences. The game currently plays like CSGO's bomb defusal with 25 rounds, and the first team to score 13 points wins out the whole game. You pick an agent at the start of each match, and these are essentially the heroes, characters, operatives that you see in other games. Abilities act more as replacements for grenades and other items versus having devastating insta-kill abilities. Each agent has 2 purchasable abilities that can be bought before the round starts, 1 ultimate ability that is earned from kills or completing objectives, and 1 main ability or signature ability or passive, whatever you want to call it, which acts on a cooldown and provides them some extra utility with no financial downside. So for starters, unlike Counter-Strike, Valorant is going to have 3 points. That's right, it's going to have an A site, a B site, and a C site. Instead of a bomb, there is a spike, with one side being the attacker and one side being the defender. I'm guessing that Riot wanted to stray away from the whole terrorist and anti-terrorist thing. Now, much like CSGO, you can buy weapons, but in addition to that, instead of grenades, each agent has a set of abilities where you can purchase charges from, and agents are chosen before a match starts and cannot be changed halfway through the match. The ultimate abilities that each agent has, however, can only be earned through charge, and charge is gathered through these little orbs on the map or through kills or capturing the objective or any other variables that we haven't been told yet. What's really cool is that because most of the abilities are done through economy with the weapons, some heroes it might be more valuable to eco for ability charge rather than getting a weapon. And this could be seen in one of the healers like Sage, opting to protect the team rather than dish out damage. So far, 8 agents have been confirmed with no concrete schedule on when more would be added in. And honestly, that's probably for the best to focus on this starting 8 and perfect their abilities so that way the game doesn't feel unbalanced or unfair at any point. The characters making their way into this new cataclysmic world are Sage from China, Cipher from Morocco, Brimstone, Phoenix, and Viper from the USA, Silva from Russia, Jet from Korea, and Omen, which is an unknown. Let's start with Sage, and Sage is the first support healer character in Valorant. Her main ability, Healing Orb, allows her to heal herself or an ally over a short period of time, and her 2 abilities are Slow Orb and Barrier Orb, skills that can be used to lock down choke points or cut off the bomb site completely. Slow Orb leaves a slowing area of effect when it hits the floor and makes enemy footsteps audibly louder. Barrier Orb conjures a solid wall that can be rotated to block off hallways or make cover, and this wall can be damaged and destroyed if enough ammo is pumped into it. And I know this is the first hero, but expect the Overwatch similarities to only get deeper from here on out. Her ultimate ability is one that has caused controversy already, and it's Resurrection, which allows her to target a friendly corpse and bring them back to life with full health. The community has been somewhat adamant that Resurrect shouldn't be an ability in a tactical first-person shooter, and it took Overwatch some time to nail down Mercy's Resurrect, so maybe Riot can learn from that and get it down the first time. Next, we've got Cipher, and Cipher is your spy, the tracker of the enemy team, and a hero that can ensure that your team is one step ahead. His main ability is the Spy Cam, which allows him to place a remote camera that can be viewed from anywhere on the map and can shoot a tracking dart. I'm really excited to see how people use this to guard bomb sites, or if they can even use it offensively to set up traps. His second ability is Tripwire, and this is where Cipher places a tripwire between two walls that immobilizes the enemy and reveals their location if they walk through it. Now, his other purchasable ability, Cyber Cage, is a handy way to stop the enemy and leave them as a dangling piece of meat for your team. Now, you have to manually activate this skill to create a cage that slows enemies, and with multiple of these being able to be placed, they can all be activated at once or individually depending on your needs. Now, you could probably pair this up with the camera and just place it over a location and watch for an enemy to walk into that cage and just pop. His ultimate ability is called Neural Theft, which allows him to plug into the enemy's mind with his hat and reveal the location of their living teammates. Now, Cypher's skill set makes him the perfect agent for a defensive playstyle that focuses on reconnaissance. And now we've got Brimstone, the tactical man of Valorant, using aerial support to deliver maximum utility. His main ability, Sky Smoke, allows Brimstone to call down a smoke screen, blocking vision and sightlines as needed. He can call these to just about anywhere on the map from what it looks like, and this is a passive or one that he can use on a cooldown, so it's going to be similar to the smoke grenade, just not having to be thrown. His first buyable ability is Incendiary, where Brimstone chucks an incendiary grenade that has an AoE fire effect, simply a reskinned version of CSGO's Molotovs or incendiary grenades. The second ability in Brimstone's toolkit is the Stim Beacon, and this can be thrown down to support a specific location, giving players in that area rapid fire or a higher rate of fire for a short amount of time. Now, the caveat of Stim Beacon is that enemy players will receive the buff as well if they are in that AoE, so place this carefully. His ultimate ability, Orbital Strike, calls down a futuristic airstrike similar to that of Bangalore in Apex Legends. While his toolkit is kind of basic, it does offer a lot of zoning potential. Next, we've got Jett. And Jett is super agile and reminds me a lot of Wraith from Apex Legends. She's got the Cloud Burst, which lets her throw out a cloud of fog that blocks vision, and it kind of is like this rotating floating orb. Her primary ability that doesn't require being purchased is Tailwind, which allows her to dash in a short distance in the direction that she was already moving. And then Updraft, her other purchasable ability, allows her to fly up into the air, either to gain some surveillance or make a play. Now, her ultimate Blade Storm gives her these sick blades as she harvests the power of wind to toss them at enemies. Now, you can left click to throw them individually, but you can also right click to throw a burst of them at once. And if you get a headshot and kill, it restores all of the daggers. Next up, we've got Phoenix, and Phoenix fills the Pyromaniac role in the game, putting the power of firebenders into your hand. His primary signature ability is Curveball, which allows him to throw a flare in a curve that will temporarily blind an enemy. Now, it says flare, but really this is just a flashbang, which is still cool that is in the game and that ability is going to still be around. Now, the coolest part about this ability though is that you can choose to curve the flare either left or right, which opens up versatility in how you play him and which angles you can come from. Now, his first ability is Hot Hands, where Phoenix throws a fireball that explodes, covering an area in fire, much like a Molotov, or like Brimstone's Incendiary ability. And the main difference with this is that his fire will actually heal Phoenix if he walks through it. His secondary ability, Blaze, lets Phoenix build a flame wall that blocks vision and will damage anyone that walks through it. Just like Curveball, you're gonna be able to bend the wall of fire in unique ways, and this adaptability is probably gonna make Phoenix a hot player when he gets introduced into the game. And yes, I said that before I realized it was a pun. Now, his ultimate ability is Run It Back, which allows him to mark a location, and during the duration of that ability, if he dies, he gets to reset back to the original marked location. This ability seems complicated and potentially powerful in a game where kills are going to mean everything, and Run It Back gives a second chance to the smart Phoenix player. So as long as it has some limitations, it might not be that bad. Next up, we've got Viper, and Viper utilizes poisonous technology to inflict damage using her own unique resource known as fuel, which dictates how long she can keep up her toxin-emitting gadgets. Her signature ability is called Toxic Screen, and it allows her to deploy a long line of gas emitters that create a wall of toxic gas. The wall can be shut on and off, but uses fuel when emitting poison. Her first purchasable ability is Snake Bite, and it's a projectile that explodes in a pool of acid. Now, her second ability, Poison Cloud, lets Viper toss a gas emitter that can be activated to create areas of toxic gas versus a wall. The emitter can be picked up and used again off of a short cooldown, so this will open up some options for readjusting flanks or maybe blocking off certain areas. Her ultimate Viper's Pit creates a cloud of toxic smoke that damages enemies inside of it and reveals their location to Viper. The cloud only lasts as long as she is inside of it, which is a smart limit to a potentially powerful ability. Next up, we've got Russian Hanzo, aka Sova. He uses a bow to monitor the enemy movement and take out the opposition with accuracy. His signature ability, Recon Bolt, lets Sova deploy a sonar emitter from his bow, and that sonar emitter will tag nearby enemies, revealing their location until it is destroyed. His first purchasable ability is the Shock Bolt, and it's an arrow that has an explosive static effect when it hits a wall or an enemy. Now, this could be used to test corners or inflict damage on pesky snipers or corner campers. And his second ability, Owl Drone, is a remote-controlled drone that can fire a tracking dart similar to Cipher's Spycam tracking dart. Now, Sova's ultimate, Hunter's Fury, cements him as a futuristic Hanzo clone, as it allows him to fire 3 beams across the map, almost like a dragon. And the last character that we know the least about, as his skill set and background are shrouded in mystery, we have not seen them in gameplay yet, this is going to be Omen. His signature ability, Dark Cover, casts an orb that at its final location produces a large shadow orb obstructing view. His first purchasable ability, Paranoia, allows Omen to send a shadowy clone down a single line, almost exactly like Mirage's Decoy from Apex Legends. His second ability, Shadow Walk, is exactly like Reaper's Teleport, moving him from one location to another without being able to be attacked and probably bypassing firewalls or other obstacles. Now, Omen's ultimate, and this is the actual title, From the Shadows, lets him teleport anywhere onto the map as a shade, and when he is killed, he returns back to where he teleported from and gains brief invincibility. Now, as we get into the solid core of the game, it is obvious that there might be some issues with abilities early on, as some of them are overpowered, and the whole opportunity to negate death or having to kill someone twice seems like an extra step in a tactical first-person shooter. We are going to start with this opening screenshot, and this is the buy menu. So on the left in this little box, you can see how much money you have in this little white box. You can see right below that the minimum amount of money that you will receive next round. And then below that, you see your agent, how much shield they have, what kind of sidearm they have, and then what kind of rifle or primary they have. What's really cool about this screen is that right below that, you have some communication options. You have a buy option telling your team, to buy, to kit up, let's actually make this round worth it. I have extra creds, which, is telling your teammates that if somebody else needs something, you can buy it for them. Or let's save, which tells your teams that you want to eco and build up to, a better round. Below that, you see your teammates and everything that they have kitted up. And then to the right of that, we have the sidearms. And of course, there's a classic pistol starting at the top. There's the Shorty, which is a sawed-off shotgun. We have Frenzy, which is a small, fully automatic pistol. No information on Ghost yet. And then Sheriff is a Desert Eagle kind of weapon. There are 2 SMGs in the game, 2 shotguns. One looks to be a pump shotgun, and the other is going to be a clip-fed semi-automatic. And then there are 4 different rifles. There are 2 snipers, the Marshal, which is reminiscent of a scout, and then the Operator, which people are probably going to still say, buy me the Op when they need a powerful sniper. Then you've got the 2 heavy guns, and then on the right, you have the option to buy light shields or heavy shields. At the bottom, you've got the character's abilities. Now, on the right, we actually got a really cool little glimpse into some of the weapons and what the stats look like. So in this screenshot, before he is able to pull out of this menu really quick, I was able to get this nice little screenshot that shows some stats on the Vandal. It even tells you the damage that it does from each range to the body, the head, and the legs. The magazine capacity is 30, and my little favorite thing on here is that the wall penetration is shown, and I hope that this is for each weapon. But in a later clip, we do see people shooting through a wood wall, probably trying to get that penetration and get an extra shot in. When they exit out of the inventory screen, you can see the mini-map on the left that shows an A site, a B site, and a C site. At the top, you see the time with the rounds in each team, and that little white bar below them, I'm guessing is their health. Now at the bottom, you can see your shield and your health on the left. You see the abilities and the charge you have in the middle, and then that ultimate is the abilities and the charge that you have is highlighted on the bottom, and you can see on the far right is where the ultimates are housed. Once the round gets started, we see this Phoenix go and capture an orb. Immediately a Viper Toxic Wall comes out, and then we see that the Phoenix has his ultimate run it back. I'm guessing these are the secondary objectives that can be captured to help you build ultimate charge. From off screen, a Sova recon bolt goes into the smoke, and we can actually see 2 enemies are pinged with it, and the Phoenix here gets the pick off. Here, when we slow down this team fight, you can actually see that some bullets are coming through the wall, and vice versa, this Phoenix is shooting bullets through the wooden wall as well, hoping, I'm guessing, to get some damage off or get that pick. Unfortunately, when he comes around this corner, he is swiftly taken care of, and his reign of terror is over. What we have up next is a look at Viper's ultimate, and this is an atrocious use of color, and one of the ultimates that really needs to be looked at, as a couple of the ultimates and abilities in the game look really bad, have weird texture interactions, and just overall block a lot of vision and seem low quality. You can see that he's inflicted with a status effect called Decay, and we have no word yet on what that does. You can see though his health is draining fairly rapidly in the bottom left corner while he is inside this smoke. Again, we see the recon arrow coming out from Sova, but on the right, you can see Brimstone's heads up display, or the little watch that he wears on his wrist, most likely to activate his abilities since they come from some sort of orbital station. A stim pack is thrown out, but as you can see, the enemy Viper is sitting there waiting for him in the smoke with a shotgun, and she also takes advantage of that stim pack for the extra rate of fire. I also want to point out that a little bit later in this opening clip, it doesn't look like Viper's ultimate can kill you, but rather get you all the way down to 1 health and leave you susceptible to being taken out. At the end, you see the op being picked back up, which proves that you can pick up weapons and swap them as needed. But that is everything that we know so far about Valorant. I am super excited to play. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, we'll see you next time.